Hi Soul Family. We are just into our third workshop now with the crystal elixirs. You should be at least identifying the differences now if you have been taking them regularly and either sensing some kind of changes. I've personally had a lot of third eye crown opening happening. The only reason I can identify with this feeling is because when I used to do a lot of psychic readings back to back, then by the end of the day I'd have this almost dizziness and really achy kind of crown and almost third eye kind of ache. And that is what I've been sensing the last 2 days at the moment. And I want you to also see if you can taste the difference between your crystal elixir and then drinking filtered water, and see if you can notice the difference. One of the things as well with the awareness of the third eye, if you're wondering where the pineal gland is located, it's the tips of your ears, and if you do the front and back of your third eye to the back of your head, just in that crossing is exactly where the pineal gland is. So that's exactly the area that I'm sensing a lot of energy. And so today I wanted to do a technique in helping to bring that energy into our body. Excuse me. The reason why I wanted to share this technique is because if you are having any Kundalini syndrome symptoms, which I explained to you in the first one, which is the headaches, the nausea, the aches and pains, chronic fatigue, this exercise really helps to bring that energy through the body. And the other reason that this exercise is really good is it also helps to turn sexual energy into spiritual energy. Now, this practice actually came from pranic healing, so I'd like to pay my respects to my teacher, which is Grandmaster Chokok Sui, who created pranic healing. And for any practice that we pass on, it's always great and very discerning to share with the teacher that you had that practice taught to you by, as a way to respect them and to also allow that person to do their research for themselves with their own practice. Personally, I love pranic healing. It was the first modality I was taught, and it's actually the modality that I am going to be teaching myself if anybody is interested. So this particular technique transmutes the sexual energy into spiritual energy. And for those of you that have heard me speak about sexual energy before, the reason why the monks and the nuns and the priests would be celibate was because they used this technique to turn the sexual energy into spiritual energy. But as the years have progressed and the information has been lost, this information basically was lost on purpose in some aspects as well, so that way the energy would get stuck, and the energy getting stuck would turn into an excess of energy, which then turns into all of these sexual issues that you hear and are aware of in the church. And it's really sad to see and hear that this is happening, especially with all the damage that it has done. But the reality was that the practice of being celibate was so that way they could transmute the sexual energy, because it's so powerful, and turn it into spiritual energy. And the reason why I wanted to teach it to you today is not only so that you can turn your sexual energy into spiritual energy and to move the energy that you'll be feeling through all of these elixirs through your body, but also if you're a mother and have children, this is a really good technique for you to do for your child if you are dealing with puberty. And if you're somebody that also has a lot of sexual energy, this is going to be perfect for you, because you'll be able to use that sexual energy into spiritual energy. And when you have this energy in your body, like I was saying to you in the first workshop, in the first video that I was doing, when we have more energy, we have more power. When we have more power, we have more ability to manifest and create create with our will. And so these practices are extremely powerful. We don't realize actually just how simple they are, but how powerful they are as well when we do them regularly. So this technique, I would say, do it probably every day and use it as a way to amplify the effects of the elixir coming through your body. Explaining the technique so that way you understand what you'll be doing. You'll be grabbing the crown energy, so you'll be scanning your crown, and I'm going to do a prana ball so that way you can understand how to feel energy. But you'll be grabbing the crown and bringing it down into the sacral, and the sacral is about three fingers down from the belly button, and bringing that energy down into the sacral with the breath going in to go down and then out to go up. Okay, so we would probably do inhaling up and exhaling down, but it's the opposite. We're doing inhaling down, exhaling up. So we're bringing the crown, spiritual, into the sexual, sexual into the crown. And that technique we'll be doing 7 times. We're not doing it really slow. It's actually quite a robust, energetic practice. So it's not something you have to be doing slowly. It's something that you're just doing mindfully. Yeah. So when you're using your mind, you're not using your body. When you're doing something that is feeling based, you're not using your mind. This is something I always say to my students: when you're intuiting something, when you're feeling into something, you're not thinking about it. You're using your sensory perception. So you're using your feeling, and the feeling is taste, touch, feeling, sensing, all of that stuff, perceiving. Okay, so we're going to start first by doing a prana ball. Very, very simple. Now the prana ball is just basically bringing the energy into our hands. Now, if you're somebody that is unfamiliar with feeling energy, I kind of liken it to the same effect of if you were getting closer to a candle. Say, for example, that this was my candle. If I was getting closer to the candle, right when it's lit, eventually you'll hit a point where you start to feel the heat. Now, when you feel the heat, your hand senses that, it feels it. And so when you're feeling the energy of the prana, it's the same thing. You'll all of a sudden just sense a push, a cooling, a heating, a tingling, a swirling. It's all different but the same. Whatever you feel is absolutely perfect for yourself. Feeling the prana energy is a lot easier when we bring our awareness to the hands, and the hands are extremely powerful. They have 5 fingers, so that way we can protect ourselves from the energy that comes out from our hands. If you see the Buddhist and a lot of the Indian deities, they'll have the swastika on their hands, so it was like the projection of energy, and some of them also have the skin tone changes from one color to a really light color on the fingers. And the reason why they do that is because they're depicting the sensitivity in the hand and the power that can come through the hands. A lot of us have past lives where we were healers, and we have healing hand capacities. So if you're a masseuse, if you're a healer, this technique is going to amplify your energy and amplify your ability to heal. We're going to start first by activating our fingers, so just slightly pressing on all of the fingers, and what that does is it brings awareness to the fingertips and the energy starts to activate in those areas. We'll press into the palms as well. And then what we're going to do is taking slow, deep breaths in consciously and out consciously out of our hands. So you just want to imagine light streaming through our hands, and with every in-breath you're bringing in the energy, and with every out-breath you're projecting it out into your hands. So breathing in. yourself to move the hands in and out about 1 foot and keep breathing in for about 7 breaths. You will eventually feel a elasticity between the hands, and this is the energy beginning to collect itself between the hands. You might even feel heat in your face or in your body. I wouldn't be surprised if you do, given that these elixirs are quite potent with bringing energy into the body. We have the lightning, we have the sericite, we have the selenite. All of these bring lots of energy into our body, so you should have some sensation if you are an energy healer or have energy capacity. If you're not feeling anything, not to stress, because this is also a practice for beginners to become more aware of their energy. When I started doing pranic healing, I couldn't feel anything. And I will admit my lifestyle choices at the time when I was in my early 20s were a lot more colourful. And given that, I had a lot of detoxification that needed to happen in order for me to become that clearer channel. So if you're somebody that is still having to clear and transmute your energy, then do not be surprised if it doesn't come through straight away. Taking this elixir will definitely help bring that through a lot faster. So just be patient and remember that practice is the key, and being in concentration with that consistency will also bring these gifts on, these abilities, a lot faster. Okay, so we're feeling the energy in our hands, and that is how we gauge the energy is through the hands, and how big it is. We can scan how big that ball is, if you want to call it ball, and that energy you can put into your crystals, or you can put it onto yourself because it's fresh, clean energy. So one of the things I would be mindful of is that in pranic healing we're always taught to clear before we put energy in, and the reason being that if we put energy into anything that is not clean, then it will amplify before it clears. So one of the things that you want to be mindful of is that you're putting that energy into something that has been cleansed. So you might put the energy in after you've had a shower, because cleaning yourself with water also cleanses energy. Okay, we're going to do the practice. So we'll be bringing the energy from the crown down into the sacral, the sex chakra, and the sex chakra back up into the crown, and doing that 7 times. And then we'll be bringing that energy, sweeping that energy, they call it, sweeping it through our aura. Starting with the crown, you might want to scan how big the crown is. So like I was saying to you before, and the crown isn't up here, the crown is literally on top of the head. So we're going to be scanning the crown and feeling how big the crown is. Personally, this elixir has made the crown quite large. Like I was saying to you, I was feeling a lot in my third eye, a lot in the pineal gland. So when I'm feeling a stretch in the energy, it'll almost feel like a cracking or a pushing. Yeah. The same thing was happening when I was drinking the elixir. I was feeling a sensation of bubbles in my energy field. It was at times so potent that I felt quite nauseous, but not to the point where I felt sick. It was just more this realization of how intense and strong the energy of the vibration was. So I'm not surprised my third eye and my crown is quite open. Scanning the crown, you might want to close your eyes as well. This helps you to be more aware of the crown. You can touch your crown chakra. Scanning the crown to notice how big it is. And what we're going to do is we're going to breathe it into the sacral. So breathing in, mixing it into the sex chakra, and then breathing it back up into the crown. Mixing it up into the crown, bringing it into the sacral. Bringing it into the crown again. Bringing it back down into the sacral. Mixing it up and bringing it back up into the crown. Bringing it back down into the sacral. Mixing it up, bringing it back up into the crown. Mixing it, bringing it back down into the sacral. Mixing it up, bringing it back up into the crown. Mixing it, bringing it back down into the sacral. Back up. And the last one back down. And the last one, bringing it back up again. Now we'll be sweeping this energy into the body. So we'll start by, because we have this big energy here, we'll be starting by sweeping it. So we just take a step to the side, sweeping, sweeping, sweeping into the arms, into the hands, under the arms. So you're almost imagining like the energy being put through all of the body, down into the legs. You can go down and bring the energy down into the legs. Same on the other side, so step to the side so that way you're opening up the arms and the legs, sweeping that energy all the way on the right hemisphere of your brain, over the shoulder, over the arm, under the arms, down, 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 sweeping it, and when I say sweep, really make sure you're consciously spreading this energy down into the legs, down under the groin, making sure that energy goes down to your feet. Now you'll be doing the same thing, taking a step back, and this time bringing the energy to the front and under the groin again, and then doing the same for the back, bringing the energy down. Now, don't stress if you cannot reach your back. The intention, energy follows intention. So just the intention of bringing the energy down, sweeping it down, 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 swapping over, sweeping it down onto the right hand side, back again, around the back of your head, sweeping that energy down, 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 go all the way down. For this exercise, I'll just stay in the camera and making sure that energy is all the way brought through the body. Interesting fact, the reason why a lot of the psychics, the sages, the seers in previous stories would be blind was because they didn't actually need their physical eyes to see, because they were using their third eye to perceive the worlds beyond this world. And because of that, their physical eyes would deteriorate. And the reason why this practice is also really good is that you do not want that energy to get stuck into the crown. You want to bring it through the body, because that as well can affect the eyesight, and it can get stagnant, it can get stuck in the eyesight. If you have glasses, if you work in front of a computer a lot, you might even just want to sweep that energy out, pulling it out of your body. At the end of the day, get some spray water, and just clean it out. Okay? Because it can get really stuck in that area, and that's what happens when we get home. We get these dark circles and feel really tired. So that's my little tip for today, and my little exercise that I wanted to share with you for the crystal elixirs. We will be doing some more energy work on feeling the texture of energy. I really want you to start to become aware of the difference between clean energy and not clean energy. And there's going to be some techniques on grounding as well. I hope you enjoyed this exercise, and I look forward to next time we catch up.